a partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're not
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's
that just we are the only society on Earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, which I know many, they're irrelevant.
Good morning, Misfits. How's that audio sounding? I honestly, like, it's so funny that somebody in the chat was like, technical difficulties starting soon. It's so true. Technical difficulties is the unofficial name of the Daily Breakdown. So I have a guest that's supposed to come on. I'm not sure if they're even going to be here because I passed out for 20 hours, but it's for some reason when I have the hosting software running at the same time, it's sounds a little muffled. Okay, normal sounds normal. Okay, but yeah, for some reason I have to mess with the audio. It comes in really low, so I have to turn up the dB, which I don't even know what that stands for. 15 plus dB, exactly. Some people are like, I don't know, scrappy audio. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna jump out of this. Okay. There we go. That's going to sound a lot better, I think. I hope. Let's turn this down a little bit. Perfect. Okay. Normal as in technical difficulties. Exactly. And I am just going to hit up Tim and say, hey, when you're good, audio issue. When you're good, let me know. And I'll open up. Okay. So I think we should be good now. I don't know what that is. I really do. You know what, guys? Listen, I'm single. All right. If there are any females out there that are attractive and also nerds who know about audio visual stuff, hit me up. You know, we can start a relationship merely based off the fact that you have things that I need. Right. If there are yeah, see? Okay, I sound fine. Sounds better. All right. Sounds better. Excellent audio now. Yeah, I don't know. Tell your friends. Find a chick that works at Best Buy or some shit. Sorry guys, you know. It's early. That's a little low too. Oh, Jesus. Look, guys, I was sick as hell yesterday. All right. I was very, very sick. Jesus. We got all sorts of stuff going on over here. This is the worst open ever. If you watched yesterday's show, I toughed it out and I did the show even though I was basically dying. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I took my vitamins. By the way, these worked. If you didn't watch the show yesterday, I talked about my home remedy, my remedy for anytime I get sick. I take vitamin C, D3, zinc, magnesium, iron, and colloidal silver. And every time I've done that, within like 24 or 48 hours, I feel a lot better. So I do feel a lot better, but I slept for 20 hours. I feel like I just walked out of a microwave. So it's, I don't think I'm sick anymore, but I am very coma-esque, and I'll shake it off the more I talk. So just give me a few minutes to sort of find my bearings here. Anyway, for those of you that have never seen the show before, here's what we do, okay? The Daily Breakdown goes like this. We jump on the internet. We type in the word news. We break down the news. This is a new thing here. News from the left, news from the right. We're going to explore that because I haven't seen that pop up. And Brave has been, I use the Brave browser because I found that it's the most, even as far as left and right. I've tried Google, DuckDuckGo. I've tried a few different ones. I'm sure that somebody's going to have their opinion, but I've run through a few of them, and the Brave browser has been pretty decent. However, the past week or so, it seems like they've been doing some updates or something like that because they were given stories from like a week ago. This one looks like a new thing here. News from the left. Okay. News from the right. What happens when we click that? It's the same shit. Literally nothing changed. They got some kinks to work out. Let's go to all results just to fix that. All right. Brave browser is the best. Been using it for years. Good. Yeah, see? So looks like I did do something right. Anyway, with the daily breakdown, we break down the daily news that we find. And then we also add in a special, theme of the day, right? So Tuesdays is TDS Tuesday. Tim Hale is the guest that may be coming on. Again, I didn't reply to him at all yesterday, so I'm not sure if he knew that we were going to still be doing this. But I have messaged him and I told him, hey, we're running 2 hours today. Sean is still doing the Bongino, the Dan Bongino show. Today's his last day, so I'm going to be covering for him today. So this show is actually going to be going for 2 hours. I figured bringing a guest on would be a good idea to sort of, take up that time. But if he does show up, that'll be great. If not, we're going to be covering the theme of the day, which is TDS Tuesday, where I try to find something TDS related. We have Maha Monday, TDS Tuesday, Woke Wednesday, 2A Thursday, and Fan Mail Friday. TDS Tuesday, I think it's important to cover this. I think that it's sort of also the same thing that we cover under Wednesdays, which is there's like a mental illness problem going on in the world right now, and Trump derangement syndrome is a severe mental illness that has become a problem. It's become a problem in America where it's like people literally have some type of post-traumatic stress disorder because Orange Man bad. And the only thing that I can think that even comes close in comparison, maybe even worse right now, is Israel derangement syndrome, right? Israel derangement syndrome is becoming a freaking problem, guys. It's already been a problem, but it's becoming more and more prevalent, right? So I had this, this was a very quick thrown together because I woke up late thumbnail, but it's Nick Fuentes. I wanted to have Dave Smith in here too, but we couldn't make it work. Nick Fuentes leading the Ayatollah, and a bunch of jihadis pointing at Netanyahu, Trump, and me and people like me, calling us terrorists, right? It's like they ignore the actual radical Islamists that are creating terrorism, and they say that the people that are fighting against them are the real terrorists, right? We have Dave Smith, who's probably one of the worst in this, but we got Nick Fuentes, we got a bunch of people. So we're going to cover that as well. And we're going, like I said, we're going for 2 hours today. So there's going to be a lot to cover, so we can take our time. We got a lot of stuff that we can do here. And hopefully Tim will get back to me and he'll jump on as well, because I really do want to talk to him about Jake Lang and the PSYOP that's going on. Definitely related, because Jake Lang, for those of you that don't know, he was a J6. He was at J6. He's one of the few people that probably should have been in jail. And he's running around, saying that Israel's trying to make our kids, N-word lovers, and he's trying to pretend to be some new Christian nationalist. There's this. We talked about this yesterday. I don't know why I'm in that screen. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. There's a new faction of theological I call them Chat GPT Christians. Okay, like look, I call Tucker Carlson, Carrie Prejean, whatever the hell her name is, Jake Lang, Nick Fuentes, these Candace Owens, I think even Russell Brand, right? Like these people who, the Christ is King people, the replacement theology, supersessionist, Christ for clicks crew of online talking heads, right? They are trying to take over the Christianity in America as the as a political weapon, right? Or they're using Christianity in America as a political weapon. And we need to learn how to spot that. We need to learn how to identify it, fight against it, because it's basically a holy war at this point, right? It's basically a holy war. We've already been dealing with the holy war of Islam for thousands of years. This is a very new phenomenon of people who are, like I said, Chat GPT Christians. They go online, they go, okay, I'm a Christian now, right? They weren't a Christian a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They're a Christian now, right? Because it's trending, right? It's like a TikTok dance to them. They're just like, yeah, Christ is king and everything. And what they do is they find ways to interpret the Bible to fit a political narrative. Okay, so like the Jews killed Jesus. It's like, nah, the Romans did. Yes, the Pharisees worked with Pontius Pilate, and there's ways to twist the word of God, which actually is warned about in the Bible, that there will be people who twist the word of God. But we're seeing it in real time, and we're seeing it get legs, and we're seeing it become more and more popular, because I think that what's happening is these people are being artificially boosted, so as part of a psyop, in order to divide the West. That's what I think. I think that there's, advantageous people that are not friends to the United States that don't care one way or another about the theology. They're just saying, okay, well, if we start boosting these people, it looks like these people are fighting with these people. It looks like these Christians are fighting with these Christians. Let's boost these Christians because they're going to create a wedge. I think that that's what's going on, but we'll explore it. And let's get to the actual daily breakdown, though. The daily breakdown is when we go on the internet, we type in the word news. I still feel very slow today, guys. I'm sure that I'll wake up. I almost knocked a bunch of shit over because I can you hear that? If you're listening on audio, I have two 24-ounce coffees in front of me today. We're doing 2 hours, 2 coffees. And I'm going to go to work after this because I feel good enough to do it. So just bear with me today. Bear with me today. All right. So, popping up on the news, the Guardian World News, this is about the Oscars. I don't particularly care, but the way that the Daily Breakdown works is we don't get to decide whether or not we cover something. If it pops up, and we talk about it. Okay. Oscars 2026, one battle after another. I haven't seen that movie. I heard it sucked. I heard it was woke garbage. I have some thoughts on Sinners, and people are going to disagree with me, but I don't care. One battle after another. Here's the headline. Sweeps the Oscars as Michael B. Jordan and Jesse Buckley win big. Okay. Paul Thomas Anderson's revolutionary epic took home 6 awards, while Sinners scored 4, including Best Actor. Okay. Paul Anderson's counterculture caper, say that 10 times fast, has won Oscars, taking home 6 awards after... it's so funny that that's the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio gets. I think that the first one, The Revenant, well-deserved. But Leonardo DiCaprio was in so many Oscar-worthy flicks before he won his first Oscar, and I think that now this is probably his second Oscar. I don't think it's actually for him, but maybe whatever. But it's like I heard this movie was garbage, but it's like that's the thing about the Oscars. They're really not for the people. It's sort of like a circle jerk in Hollywood. It's like, oh, we think it was so good. We think it was so good. The people that are out of touch with reality think the movie was so good, or they do it, for politics, etc. And again, we're going to get to that with the Sinners thing because the room is split over that. The big budget comedy thriller inspired by blah, blah, blah. I better check this out. I might have to just like suffer through it, but I heard people were walking out of this thing anyway. The big budget comedy thriller. I wrote this movie for my kids to say, sorry for the housekeeping mess we left in this world. We are handing off to them. Oh, this world is so terrible. I'm so sorry. I heard it was like about, immigration and shit like that. You got, what's his name? Harvey or whatever, the dickhead, with the pin, the Gaza pin. It's so stupid. So stupid. These people really are. Everyone in Hollywood really is out of touch with reality. I wrote this movie for my kids to say sorry for the housekeeping mess we left in this world we're handing off to them. Jesus. Imagine living in America as a multi-millionaire standing on a stage holding a golden statue apologizing for what America is. Imagine how out of touch with reality you have to be in to do that. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry that you live in a mansion, kids. I'm so sorry. Funny, he didn't wear a pin or LFA producer. Funny, he didn't wear a pin or protest for the Iranian soccer team women who are forced to return home due to threats to their families. Exactly. These people are like, send those female soccer players back to Iran so they can be beheaded. No pin. What about the other soccer team? I don't know, the soccer team of 12-year-olds that Hezbollah fired rockets at a couple of years ago, killing 12 kids. No pin for the actual victims of October 7th. After October 7th, not a single person in Hollywood was like, hey man, free the hostages. There was only a couple of people who weren't that famous who were wearing the yellow ribbons. But it's like, dude, this virtue signaling garbage always seems to be virtue signaling for evil. It's like they're saying like evil is the virtue. It's like, how dare you fight terrorists? How dare you? Nothing to see here. Move along. How dare you? It's fucking Greta Thunberg. Yeah, I'm telling you, there is no difference between Greta Thunberg and Dave Smith at this point. If I watched Greta Thunberg's little speech about Trump's foreign policy, back to full screen. I watched Greta Thunberg's little speech about Trump's foreign policy, and I swear, if you had just written it down, right, and if you didn't know who was saying it, right, if you had written it down, it was a Dave Smith tweet. Right? It's like, and Dave Smith is one of these people that's like, we're responsible for putting Trump in the White House. No, you're not. You jumped on the bandwagon and then very quickly tried to turn the bandwagon into a shitty bandwagon. Or a shitty wagon. You wanted to change the band. Immediately. Here's the bandwagon. Let's change all of the band. And we were like, nah, we kind of like the band. And you're like, well, that's ridiculous. Trump is a terrorist. All right, let's continue to cover this story. Like I said, guys, we can just take our time today because we're going to be covering Sean's show. I'm very proud. Listen, first of all, I also just want to take a quick second here, right? I'm super proud of Sean, right? Sean reached out to me a few years ago, maybe two. I don't even know how long. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and we hooked up through a mutual, J.R. Majewski, and he was like, "Hey man, my buddy Sean is a big fan of yours. Do you mind if I give him your number?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I go, "I don't know who's Sean, right?" And then I looked up who Sean was, and I go, "Oh, I'm a big fan of his because he's the guy who does the Trump impersonation." So we start talking, and I was just wanted to have him. I wanted to have him on my show, just as a guest. We did the show, and people were like, "You two need to do a show together," because it was just so good. So we started the weekly breakdown, and I've seen Sean grow. I think he had less. I don't care about this. I think he had less followers than me, maybe at the time, or close to the same. And I've just seen him blow up, and it's well deserved. I'm just so proud of him. And now he's hosting the #1 conservative guest hosting. He's still here, guys. He's guest hosting the #1 conservative morning show on Rumble, and that's awesome. And he's bringing more attention to LFA, which will look, a rising tide raises all ships. So I think it's just awesome. I think it's good for the whole conservative movement to have these the right people elevated. Let's put it that way. Because what I've been seeing is the wrong people have been elevated for far too long, because people are viewing clout. People are viewing fake clout, fake engagement as some type of currency. Like Ian Carroll, Dave Smith, Nick Fuentes, none of their engagement is real. These people buy likes and engagement. Like it's insane how easy it is to spot. Nick Fuentes will make a post, make a comment, and then within seconds, right, he'll have more likes than views. Like I'm saying, like if there will be 1,000 likes and like 900 views, that's impossible. That means more people are liking the post than have even seen it. All right, I can vouch for Sean, vouch for myself, and vouch for many other people. We don't do that. Our engagement is real. Might not be as quote big, but it's real. And that's what I'm saying. I think that having people like Sean elevated is just good for everybody. And we need to fight this whole grifting sensationalist culture of online podcasters just messing this whole movement up. And we need to fight them. There are people that are like, we need to ignore them. Bullshit. These people are like mushrooms, all right? They thrive in darkness. You got to fight it. You have to fight these people every day. It's a never-ending battle. You wake up and go, "Oh, I don't feel good today. I didn't feel good yesterday. Still did the show." Right? Anyway, let's keep going. I think we got the point of this story, but I do want to talk about this one part, right? Look, people are going to disagree with me on this. That's fine. Sinners was a good movie. Sinners was a good movie. Okay? Was it Oscar winner worthy? Probably not. Probably not. But it was a really good movie, actually. It was honestly like a really good flick. And I don't think that the people who are jumping on this only got this because black people, blah, 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 that's not the right move, okay? It was a good movie. It was similar to, it was a little similar from Dusk Till Dawn, but it was different. It was different, and it was good. And I saw a bunch of people. I saw Matt Walsh and a bunch of other people like, this movie was garbage, and this movie was awful. That's not true. That's not true. It was a good movie, right? See, if you're saying that the movie was garbage because people in it were black, you're just as bad as people who are saying that there aren't enough, there aren't enough black people in the movies, right? If you're saying there aren't enough white people in the movies, that's why they're garbage. It's like, no, the movie was framed out for, I don't know, the 1940s or 1930s or something like that, where it was like two black brothers who wanted to, it made sense is all I'm saying. It made sense that it was black movie. It was in the South. Anyway, it was a good movie. I'll die on that hill. Should it have won an Oscar? I don't know. I don't think that most movies that win the Oscars deserved an Oscar. Most of them don't. I'm just saying, don't look racist when you look, if it was one of these things where it was like, oh, this movie, like one battle after another, that you'd have a good argument for. But Sinners was a good movie. That's all I'm saying. All right, next story. Probably not going to be able to read it. Nope, not going to be able to read it. New York Times. Dreams of flight and service for 6 U.S. military members killed in Iraq. The crew members who died in the crash had been part of the U.S. and Israel's war on Iran, bringing the death toll of American service members to conflict to 13. Looks like this is just more like, highlighting the... And look, you should. 13 military members have died in the war in Iran, and that's not great. But if you think about the trolley problem, which is what we talk about all the time, right? Look, so here's the deal. The trolley problem. They bring up the trolley problem all the time. Would you say that it would be worth it if you knew that the sacrifice that these 13 military members have made, the ultimate sacrifice, would have saved more lives in the long run? I'm pretty sure that they would say that it's worth it because that's what they signed up for. So, running under this whole, anytime anyone dies, it was completely avoidable it's a bullshit way of looking at it. War's hell, but sometimes it's also necessary. And if war is necessary, it means that there is a likelihood that members of the military will die. It means that civilians will die. Think of how many people have been killed due to radical Islam, right? The numbers that you're getting off of Perplexity are very low, in my opinion. But let's just go here. Okay. Here, let's go to this. Where is it? Okay. How many deaths? Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to think of how to word this. How many civilian deaths have been taken in the name of Islamic terrorism over the last 50 years? I don't know how it's gonna, I don't know. Yeah, see, global terrorism fatalities by year data set. Over the roughly 45 to 50 years, the best available data set on the order of a few 100,000 people have been killed in attacks classified as Islamist or jihadist terrorism worldwide, with a minimum documented toll around 250,000 and a plausible upper bound in the estimates of 300,000 to 400,000 range. Look, I think that if this was to take into account the genocides that happen in Syria, in the Sudan, in Nigeria, in Africa, we'd be in the millions, right? but just in the official terrorist organization, like designated terrorist organization, we have between 250,000 and 400,000. And on this end, we have, and on this particular conflict, we have 13. Right? In one, yes. I think this qualifies as the trolley problem. Right? That does not mean that it's a good thing that, you know, soldiers are dying. It doesn't mean that, you know, we should care any less about their deaths. It just means that we should have perspective. Next story, Guardian World News. What's this one about? Republican rebukes FCC chair's threat to revoke broadcast licenses over war in Iran. Senator Ron Johnson pushes back, saying he's not in favor of a government meddling in freedom of speech. Okay, I've heard about this story. Let's dig through this. Let's break this down because I haven't done a deep dive on this. All right. The Federal Communications Commission's chair, Brendan Carr, is facing pushback from a Republican lawmaker after warning on Saturday that broadcasters could lose their licenses if they run what the federal agency deems fake news over the Iran conflict. Now, this is public broadcasting, okay? You have to understand that. And we talked about this, I think it was this week. Oh, no, last week. I'm sorry. It's only Tuesday, so this had to be last week. About the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act and how in America, under public broadcasting, we are allowed somehow to spread propaganda to the American people. And I don't think we should be able to do that, right? So if this is a workaround to prevent that, I would say it's a good thing. I don't think that it's I don't think that it's an infringement on the First Amendment to use a legal loophole to stop broadcasters from spreading propaganda to the American people. But Senator Ron Johnson thinks that maybe it is. All right, so let's see here. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin said in an interview on Sunday Briefing on Fox News that he was not in favor of the government control of private enterprises. Is it private? Now, hold on. I might be misunderstanding here. FCC, Federal Communications Commission, private enterprise. So the FCC does cover it covers private broadcasting as well. Okay. So like this would be like, so it's not like public broadcasting like PBS, right? We shouldn't be able to do it there. But he's saying like if Fox News or some type of subscription service, there should also be penalties. Okay, that's a fair point, all right? But still, I don't think that we should be able to do that at all. But anyway. Okay, I'm in big support of the First Amendment, Johnson said. I do not like the heavy hand of the government, no matter who's wielding it. So no, I would rather the federal government stay out of private sector as much as possible. But here's the problem with this. Those are private companies, right? They do have FCC regulations and contracts, and they do have an obligation to report accurately. So the FCC's role is not necessarily like we are completely out of your business and then you do something and we come in and arrest you. It's not like, it doesn't work like that. These are regulations that the broadcasters, the private companies, broadcasters agree to, know about, and if they are in violation of, then that is what it is. Right? There's no FCC regulations on like podcasters and stuff like that. That's why you're seeing way more fake news coming out of the podcaster circuit than you do on mainstream media. The federal government's role is to protect our freedoms and protect our constitutional rights. I agree. Carr, a Trump appointee to the FCC, is facing pushback against comments made Saturday in which he said licenses held by broadcasters could be revoked. Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, these are licenses that you have to apply for. And if, let's say, like, I mean, does anybody disagree with the statement? Okay, let's try it this way. Does anybody disagree with the statement that if you have a very bad driving record, right? If you constantly get into car accidents and you apply for a license to drive a car and get denied based on your driving record, that's a fair thing to do. Like, it's fair for the government to say, you have a record of crashing your car. We don't think you should have a license. No license for you. Would that be fair? Would that be a fair thing for the government? Is that the government infringing on your right to drive a car? Or are they assessing your driving record and saying you shouldn't have a license because you're dangerous, you're running around, and you are crashing into people, right? So I think that would be normal. So a broadcasting license being revoked because you're constantly lying to people, I think that it might be kind of fair for the government to be like, yeah, I don't want to give you a license because I think that you're a propagandist and I don't want you in the driver's seat of our news. You know, I think that's fair. I might be wrong here, but I think that that's fair. I don't think that's an infringement on your freedom of speech, right? Because they have to apply for the license. I think that they can still speak and they can still do as long as they are following the guidelines of the thing that they agreed to. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. I think that maybe that's a good way to look at it, right? It's like Sean talks about this where it's like, okay, people say that TSA is unconstitutional. And it's like, well, technically, when you go to the airport, nobody's forcing you to get on a plane, right? You buy a ticket, you go there, and you follow the regulations and the guidelines. And then when you get there, yeah, if you want to fly, you got to do this, but you don't have to fly. You can drive. You can do other things, right? It's like, these are privileges. These are privileges. Like your right to have a private broadcasting company that can just say whatever, say lies, say whatever you want, propagandize the American people. I don't think that's the First Amendment. I don't think so. I might be wrong here. I really think that people have gotten into a habit of creating some binary, like really non-nuanced reality of the First Amendment, Second Amendment, every other amendment. It's like this, with the Second Amendment, okay? You have the right to bear arms, okay? You have the right to bear arms, and it shall not be infringed. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed, all right? Do you have the right to shoot people? No. You don't have the right to shoot people. You have the right to bear arms for the intent and purpose of defending yourself against a tyrannical government. That's literally why the Second Amendment exists, right? The being necessary for a free state, right? The right to bear arms. The necessity. So, do you think the founding fathers would have been like, okay, look, if you shoot somebody, nobody can take your gun away. Like if you go on a killing spree, if you just literally just start shooting everyone you see, right? You still have the right to bear arms. Nobody can take your gun away. Even if you shoot people, you should be able to have it in jail. You should be able to have it in your cell. Yes, you just murdered a whole bunch of people, but you have the right to bear arms. We can't take that away from you, even if you are shooting people all day. We have to keep giving you a gun. No, that's ridiculous. So it works very similar to what we're talking about here. You have the right to exercise your free speech, right? But if you are using your speech as a form of incentivizing people to commit acts of violence, or if you are using your speech to propagandize, lie to the American people, and misinform us so that we are not well equipped to assess the dangers and the threats to us, yeah, there's got to be checks and balances, because yeah, we're a nation of freedom, but we're also a nation of laws, right? Because you have to have law and order. A society without laws is an anarchy society. That's like the libertarian argument these days. Libertarianism in the modern age is anarchy. They're just like, no laws. Heroin should be legal. You have the right to get high. Yeah, like, we'll just drink and drive, get high, you know, guns for everybody, no property rights, nothing. It's like, to open the border, no protections whatsoever. The government shouldn't do anything to protect you, period. They should just leave you alone. You do whatever you want. That's anarchy, dude. That's not the way it works, is all I'm saying. So yes, the First Amendment and the Second Amendment are crucial and important, and I am an absolutist on both of them as long as they are in the framework of what the founders intended. But I'm not an anarchist. Right? I'm not an anarchist. I don't think that you should just do whatever you want laws. Anyway, let's see here. Carr doubled down on that. Hold on. Democrats criticized Carr's warning shot. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. It's hilarious. It's hilarious that any Democrat is like, actually, you shut up. Said it's illegal for the government to censor free speech. It is just, hold on. It's illegal for the government to censor free speech. It just doesn't like about Trump's Iran war. The threat is straight out of the authoritarian playbook. Jeez. Senator Chris Murphy, $1 in the chat. Carl Benji, they are saying immigrant truckers are losing their licenses overnight. It's BS. Yeah, they can. Yeah, exactly. They can take away the money and the licenses of the truckers in Canada for protesting, but they want licenses given to illegal immigrants. It's hilarious. The rule which many non-citizens from getting commercial licenses or renewing existing ones. Yeah. Good. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Yes, a couple people have asked if I'm feeling better. I'm feeling much better. I'm just tired because I slept for 20 hours. All right. Where was I? Senator Chris Murphy concurred. A truly extraordinary moment. We aren't on the verge of a totalitarian takeover. We are in the middle of it. Oh, kind of like when the Biden administration was like, hey, has any of these people ever heard of the Twitter files? Yeah. Take a seat. Carr later doubled down on that threat in an interview with CBS. Here's Carr. People have gotten used to the idea that, you know, licenses are some sort of property right, and there's nothing you can do that can result in losing their license, Carr said. I try to sort of help reorient people that no, there is a public interest and broadcast is different. Thank you. This is what we were just saying. There's no right to a license to spread propaganda. I don't think that this is a violation of anyone's First Amendment to try to rein in the lies that the networks are pushing on the American people. Like, as long as you are not violating the people's rights, then sure, yeah. Like I said, all these people, every one of these networks can just do a podcast and say whatever the hell you want. Just make a podcast, go ahead. But when you're on air and you have a license that you were in agreement to with the federal government, and they create rules that say you will not get a license if you do this, sorry, that's not a violation of the First Amendment. All broadcasters, you know, feel entirely free to do all of their reporting as long as they're not engaging in news distortion. It's common sense. You shouldn't be able to lie to the American people on a massive platform where you get licensed by the federal government. Sounds common sense to me. I don't know. The FCC has lost power in recent years. Over-the-air broadcasting by local TV has lost ground to cable, satellite, online distribution systems, which will have little to no sway over. Exactly. They don't have any sway over podcasts, over other things, right? But it holds power to regulate media acquisitions and mergers where the transfer of broadcast licenses is involved. This is very common sense, right? These are broadcast licenses for the federal government. So yeah, no, it's not a violation of the First Amendment. Sorry. This is an agreement between private companies and the government. Anyway. I mean, let me know if you disagree with me. I think that I think that we need to do something because we're in it. Look, I don't want to sound like a friggin' liberal, but you know, because they went like, oh, misinformation, disinformation, blah, 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 right? It was just nonstop all day. Misinformation, disinformation. Looking back on it, you know, like they were lying. By the way, there was no misinformation with what they were talking about. But they have a point of, should we address lies being told on the American people? That part, I think they were a little bit right about. All right? I think that when you just willy-nilly just say freedom of speech and then just go freedom of speech, say whatever you want, do whatever you want, it's a little stupid. All right. Next story. We'll move in. Hold on. We got what? 1, 2. Okay, what's this? The Guardian World News. What is this? Trump calls for, this is such 5D chess. And I hate saying that because, you know, everything that Trump does is 5D chess. No, this is though. Everything Trump does is not 5D chess. This, however, is 5D chess. What is going on here? There we go. Okay, so Trump calls for allied deployment to Strait of Hormuz, and it meets a muted response. Okay, countries including the UK, Japan, China, South Korea have said they are still considering their options, but without making commitments after the U.S. President Donald Trump urged them to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz. In a post on Truth Social, Trump called on the UK, China, France, Japan, South Korea, and other countries to send ships to the waterway, the world's busiest shipping route, which is being violently blockaded by Iran. In his post, Trump alleged that many countries, especially those affected by Iran's attempted closure, will be sending warships in conjunction with the United States of America. He said it like they're already doing it. That's the boss move. He basically was like, they're going to do it. It's like, they're going to do it. And then when they don't, everyone's going to be like, wait a minute, I thought you were going to do that. And they're like, In a later post, Trump extended his call to all the countries of the world that receive oil to send naval support. It's common sense. Because you know what? Everybody reads that and they go, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't they? Right? Why wouldn't they? Because what it does is it reinforces the idea that Iran is causing these problems, right? And these countries should be fighting against Iran. And if they don't, then if they don't send warships to escort through oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, then Trump can come out and be like, you guys didn't seem really concerned. So when they start saying, oh my God, this is a problem, but you didn't seem really that concerned. I gave you a solution. I gave you guys a solution. You guys can join in. Come on, let's go. All right. Are you saying that you're saying that you want us to protect all of your oil, but then you're going to complain and yell at us when the oil prices are rising? All you had to do was send a couple of boats. It's a very smart strategic move on Trump's part. Later so the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz by Tehran in retaliation for airstrikes by the U.S. and Israel has proved catastrophic for global energy and trade flows, causing the largest oil supply disruption in history. I doubt that. However, the international response to Trump's call for the dispatch of warships has so far proved vague and reluctant, with countries unwilling to commit to a military response. Tehran has said any oil tanker heading for the U.S., Israel, or its allies is a legitimate target and will be immediately destroyed. 16 tankers have been attacked since the war started, and at the end of February, and Iran has threatened to lay explosive mines in the waterway. So far, the U.S. has not sent its own Navy ships to escort tankers through the strait. Well, it's not our oil. All right, so look, here's the Strait of Hormuz, right? Here's Iran. This basically right here, this thing that my little cursor is hovering over, that's where they can attack, right? It's the choke point. Like the UAE and Qatar and Bahrain and everybody down here on this southern side, they're fine. Like the ships can get from any one of these spots perfectly fine without being attacked. It's not till they get to this choke point at the Strait of Hormuz that there's a problem. You know, there are people that are like, they should just create a waterway right here in between, you know, Dubai. Or you could just, you know, this war could be over in like 3 weeks, and that's unnecessary. But it's kind of a funny, like, you know, argument to hear like China or Japan or any other country say that they don't want to go in and protect the oil, because look, we don't need the oil. America, we don't need the oil. This is not our oil. This is Russia's, China's, and several other countries. But what Trump did was he basically was like, hey, look, you guys want your oil. You guys want to protect your oil. We'll help you. Like we, America, will help you escort your oil. But if you don't show up and come to get your oil, then it's gone. Bye. Sorry. It's not really our problem. All right. But we'll see how this works out. I honestly think this war is going to be over in like 2 weeks. So, I mean, I'm calling it right now. I think it's 2 weeks. I mean, let's do this. What's today? March 17th. I think April. Let's go a little. My birthday's on the 12th. Okay, so I think by my birthday, I think by April 12th, this war is essentially going to be over. By the time I turn 41, this war is essentially going to be over. Right? I could be wrong, but that's my over/under right there. April 12th, 1, 2, 3, 3.5 weeks. We'll see. Bookmark it. Flag it, as Dan Bongino says. All right. Okie dokie. I have not heard back from Tim Hale yet. We'll see if he ends up responding. If not, we're basically got through the whole first hour with the daily breakdown, and we'll do the whole second hour with the TDS Tuesday. Young one, Zach, I am an April baby also. Yeah, what's up, April babies? Red flag in the chat. War over by Easter. That's, yeah, well, when's Easter? Easter's what, the 15th? Carl Benji, one day after mine, yeah. My cat's birthday is April 9th. My birthday is Sunday, April 12th. We got that event coming up in Fort Worth. We're going to... damn, my brain really... I am foggy as hell today, guys. I slept for 20 hours. Sheepdog, thank you. Jeez. Sheepdog Response. Right outside of Dallas, Fort Worth area. We're doing an event April 10th, 11th, or 9th, 10th, and 11th? Or 10th, 11th, and 12th? I can't remember. Let's see here. 10th, 11th, and 12th. Ending on my birthday. We're having a... here, let's go show you. Let's go show you. Okay. All right, so we have, this is the beacons link in my bio. All right, so if you go to my X or my Instagram, it'll bring you here. And you have here, right here, the Texas Training Retreat, Texas Firearm Training Retreat. Retreat. Oh, Jesus. What the heck is going on with me today? So basically, this trip was inspired by the ongoing violence we've seen against the Jewish community. I wanted to offer anyone, whether you're Jewish or not, who's interested in getting a firearm or learning self-defense and how to train a firearm, a course. So I made a post where I was, was having a couple bad weeks because work was really slow. And I was like, hey guys, there's a buy me a coffee link here in my bio. And if you guys wouldn't mind helping me out. So people threw way too much money in that. They threw thousands of dollars in there. And I was like, okay, well, why is nothing happening? There we go. So what we were able to do, right, is I was able to take some of that money and buy 10 people the firearms training course. I essentially just paid for it with the donations. I didn't have to, I just did. And those 10 spots have filled up, but Sheepdog Response has agreed to do a discounted rate for anyone else. So if you guys do want to do this firearms training course with Sheepdog Response, it'll be at their facility. The day one, they're going to go over the firearm safety, answer questions. Day two, there's going to be a full day of basically John Wick style training. Like no bullshit. It's going to be hands-on with real live firearms. They're going to be doing a full 8-hour day of training with firearms. And then day three, I talked to the people over at Sheepdog and they said we can stick around for a third day and just use their range for whatever we want to do, right? So it'll essentially just be target practice. But I'm going to be there and I'm pretty well, pretty good. I'm pretty good. And I can, help out and answer any questions and help to hone. But they're basically giving us a discounted rate because it's usually a 3-day course. These instructors are going to be donating their time. So that third day, they can't really afford to have all the instructors still training you on that third day. So that's how we were able to get it discounted. If you guys want to sign up for that, they said they could take up to 50 people. You're just going to have to pay for your own flight, pay for the discounted rate on the course, and find your own lodging in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The Weatherford, Texas, and surrounding areas will be closest to the event. But if you, if you do want to sign up for this and come, let me know. And if you do sign up, it'll show me who you are, and I'll be able to private message you, and we'll get a group chat going. Anyway, a little side note for that. I don't know how we got there. I can't remember. What we were talking about. But all right. All right, enough of the news. Let's see here. Tim, where are you? All right. If Tim shows up by 9:30, then good. All right, so we are in hour 2 now of the Daily Breakdown. This is usually where you get ungoverned. I am your host, the Misfit Patriot, live from Texas. Sean is currently doing the Dan Bongino show, and he will be back tomorrow. So you guys are stuck with me for today, but this was usually the ungoverned spot. I'm so happy that Sean's doing the Dan Bongino show, but we do want him back. We want him back. I can't do this. I'm already tired. No, but that's great. It's great to see Sean over there. And we got a little clip from Sean that we're gonna play in a few minutes. But for now, the first hour of the Daily Breakdown was the Daily Breakdown. Okay, the Daily Breakdown is when we break down the news. Hour 2 of the Daily Breakdown today will be focused on, and I don't know if Tim is coming, but if he is, great. I have my my messenger open right now if he responds. If not, whatever. But let's talk about this, right? IDS is the new TDS. This is the TDS Tuesday portion of the Daily Breakdown. And we're going to talk about Israel derangement syndrome and how it's affecting MAGA and why it's very similar to Trump derangement syndrome, right? It's a mind virus. It is a mind virus. Sean Gino, Roadrunner 513 in the chat. All right. But here, let's get to somebody with IDS. Dave Smith, if you guys have never heard, oh my God, I just pulled up Rumble and I see that Sean is dressed up as a leprechaun. So, okay, I'm gonna watch that. I'll be watching that eventually as soon as this show is over. Yeah, happy St. Patty's Day, by the way, to everybody. I went out this weekend to a crawfish boil 2 days ago. What was it? No, not this weekend. Yeah, it was this weekend. What was it, Sunday? I don't even remember. The day before I got sick, I went out to a crawfish boil, and I wore a hat very similar to the one that Sean is wearing, and you know, it was a fun time. But I was like, I grew up in Boston, so St. Patty's Day parade in Boston, corned beef and cabbage, you know, Guinness, all sorts of stuff. That's how I would normally do St. Patty's. And my buddy was like, hey, we're doing a crawfish boil. And I was like, what the hell does crawfish have to do with Irish? I don't think that they eat that. And he was like, it's a Texas thing. It was a fun time. I left early because I wasn't feeling good. And sure enough, I woke up the next morning with in cold sweats. But here we are today. A few days later, we are on the mend. We got our vitamins. We're doing great. And we are covering for Ungoverned. So thank you for showing up. We got the green. Throw some more shamrocks in the chat for St. Patty's Day. That looks good. All right. But anyway, IDS, right, is the new TDS. That is the theme of TDS Tuesday on the Daily Breakdown. And I think one of the people that you may or may not have heard of, Dave Smith, is one of the IDS poster boys, okay? Comic Dave Smith, who is the least funny comedian. I'm not even joking. I actually said I would give $1,000 to somebody that could find me a clip from Dave Smith that would make me laugh. Nobody's done it yet, right? Like, and I mean like genuinely laugh, like a stand-up comedy bit where I thought it was objectively funny. He is not funny. He's literally not a funny person, right? He just calls himself this is like a trans comic where it's like he's just saying he is. He's definitely not. There was one joke where it was kind of funny, something about Elizabeth Warren, but then I realized that's not even a joke. He was just saying words. It sounded like Trump was funny in that bit, but it wasn't even Dave. Anyway, Trump derangement syndrome is something that we all know very well, okay? And this is how I describe Trump derangement syndrome, okay? You have to think of Trump as an ex who cheated on you with your best friend and you walked in on them, okay? Think this is how the left thinks of Trump, okay? Imagine if you walked in on your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or husband with your best friend in bed, and that's the starting point of when you were like, okay, I hate both of you, right? Your wife or husband or whatever, the person that cheated on you, okay, could cure cancer, and you'd still be like, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. That person who cheated on you could save a baby from a burning building, and you'd be like, nah, wish you didn't, right? That's TDS. That's what TDS is. It's like no matter what that person does, you have to find negativity. You cannot celebrate. It's impossible because you're the problem, right? You're the problem, right? It's like there's something wrong with you with not being able to acknowledge that you don't like this person, and that's fine. But they have done good things, right? They just did something bad to you. That's TDS, okay? Israel derangement syndrome is the new Trump derangement syndrome, where Israel is just bad. Israel bad. Doesn't matter what Israel does. Bad, 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 bad. Right? Dave Smith is the poster boy for Israel derangement syndrome. Okay? And Israel derangement syndrome is like becoming Trump derangement syndrome because Trump doesn't hate Israel. He doesn't hate Netanyahu. He doesn't hate Jews. He doesn't agree with these crazy people. So they are turning on Trump. Right? Let's take a quick look here. All right, at Dave Smith. We're going to go into a couple of specific posts, right? But just want to give you guys an idea of what Dave Smith, and in case you haven't heard of him before, what his messaging is. Okay, the same people that say October 7th justifies killing 100,000 people can't possibly fathom how anyone else could use the slaughter of their people to justify killing anyone. Okay. Islam, this is the best, right? Islam is such a violent religion. Every time we murder a bunch of their children, they try to kill some of us. Disgusting. Okay. The best we can hope for at this point, which is possible, is that Trump just stops, calls it quits, and pretends it was something other than the disaster this is. Okay. All right. I've never claimed that the Islamic world is peaceful. The U.S. isn't peaceful. Neither is Israel or much of the Muslim world. The point is, when you slaughter people's children, you're likely to deal with more blowback from terrorists. Okay, so you guys understand that Dave's just silly. Here's a good point, right? Epic post, Dave. Hey, by the way, Sweden has no history of fighting the Middle East. And in fact, it was the first country in the EU to recognize Palestine as a state. So surely that means they don't have hordes of violent Muslims joining rape gangs and driving trucks into people, right? It's so wild, dude. Hold on. So his history has no fighting in the Middle East. Okay, yeah, this is just some freaking like out of context person. But no. So what this post is trying to say is Sweden has not killed a bunch of Islamic children. Okay. And Muslims are still taking over their country, and just like they are in any other place in the EU. Here's another really interesting post, because somebody went and found the analytics here for this Islam is such a violent religion post from Dave Smith, and it looks like roughly 90 to 95% of the accounts reposting it are all foreign or radical Islamist accounts, right? So you can see here the post activity on the right. Everybody who's reposting this is mostly like a foreign account or a radical Islamist account, like Muslim Brotherhood, account. What this means is Dave Smith hates Israel so much that he's aligning with Islamists and promoting Islamic propaganda. There have been 4 Islamic terrorist attacks in America over the past few weeks, and Dave Smith thinks that that's our fault. Right? Dave Smith is saying that we're the problem. Right? It's because we, America, keep blowing up all these people over there. Right? But what did we say earlier? Right? What's on the screen right now? There have been 66,000 plus Islamic terror attacks over the past 50 years. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. And I mean, what is the average on that? What's the average per day? Hold on. Actually, I'm just going to do it this way. It's easier. All right. So 66,870 divided by 50. That's 1,337 per year. Right? Let's see. Divided by 52. That's 25 a week. Divide. What do we need? What are we talking about here? Are we blowing up a school every week, Dave? Let's get rid of these. But here's a post from Seth Dillon, replying to Dave on this lovely and insightful post. This is woke moral reasoning. Number one, for the oppressed, all things are permitted, right? So for the Islamists, they're allowed to attack us because we attacked them. This is Dave's viewpoint, right? This is the moral reasoning behind Dave. We're the bad guy, not the Islamists, right? They're only attacking us because we attacked them, right? And Dave will start the conflict wherever it makes us the bad guy or Israel the bad guy. It's never the Islamists' fault, even though Islamists have been attacking America since America was created. Look up the Barbary pirates, okay? So, according to Dave, Israel, the land that was named a country in, 80 years ago, right, is the problem. But the 66,000 terrorist attacks over the past 50 years, it's like it makes no sense, is all I'm saying. All right. Number two, Islamists are oppressed. We intentionally murder their children. 3, therefore, all things are permitted for Islamists. He might just say, I'm explaining it, not justifying it, but framing the United States as the real terror group that targets innocents first is meant to suggest that any response is really just self-defense, and that's a justified reaction. This is what Dave Smith is doing. He's saying that America, we are the real terrorists, right? We are the problem, not the Islamists, okay? Even though Islam is attacking pretty much every other country, not America, right? Like they are literally firing rockets at every surrounding neighbor. They're firing rockets at Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, everyone, right? It's because of us. It's because of us. They're trying to blow up oil refineries. They're trying to blow up desalination plants. They're trying to kill everyone in their proximity because of us. Bullshit. Bullshit. And Dave won't call that out. Neither will Nick Fuentes. Neither will a bunch of other people. Okay, so that covers Dave. I wanted to cover the other poster boy for the woke right and the Islamic apologists, Nick Fuentes, right? Can see that he's blocked me because he's not sensitive at all. Trump's Iran war is shaping up to be a total catastrophe, not to mention a fundamental betrayal of his own movement's principles and voters. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance is in hiding, trying to salvage his chances of 2028 by quietly distancing himself from the war. Absolutely pathetic. Nick Fuentes said that he was going to vote Democrat, so I don't understand why. Like, Nick Fuentes literally said he's going to vote Democrat. I don't see why anybody should listen to him at all, but that's okay. You can do that if you want, I guess. Trump canceled mass deportations because it's apparently too unpopular right before the midterms. What? Let's go back to Perplexity. Oh, Oh God, what's going on here? Let's just X out of that. Let's see if Trump has canceled mass deportations. Has Trump canceled mass deportations? I don't know. I think that with Nick Fuentes, he just says things. Like, you know, it would be great if he would be like, here's the article I'm referring to, but he's not. Let's see here. Checking official records to confirm whether Trump has not canceled mass deportations agenda. The policy is still in place, though rhetoric and tactics are being adjusted. Okay. Current status. Reporting indicates the administration is continuing to build out the machinery for large-scale deportations. The White House has publicly defended mass deportations. After backlash over the highly visible militarized raids, DHS has scaled back some broad public sweeps and moved towards targeted operations, which reduced arrests in the most recent month. So in the past 1 month, there's been a slight dip in mass deportations. Let's see here. Yeah. So that's probably what Nick was referring to. But it's so wild how it's like he just says things. But anyway, this is Israel derangement syndrome in effect, right? And this is great. The new Trump derangement syndrome is when you see shills insisting that the regime change in Iran was always MAGA, or claiming that people like Tucker or MTG were never MAGA, even though they both campaigned for him in 2024. Okay, let's debunk this one. Okay, because I have a great one for you. This one's great. This one's really great. All right, it might take me a few seconds to find it, but you'll see. So we'll go back to, once we find it, we'll go back to, here it is. Okay, so what did Nick just say? The new Trump derangement syndrome is when you see shills insisting that regime change in Iran was always MAGA. Here's Trump in 1988. 1988, guys. Okay? Trump, I'd be harsh on Iran. They've been beating us up psychologically, making us look like a bunch of fools. One bullet shot at one of our men or ships, and I'd do a number on Karg Island. I'd go in and take it. Iran can't even beat Iraq, yet they push the United States around. It would be good for the world to take them on. So, apparently, I'm a shill for insisting that Trump has always been tough on Iran and always said that he would be tough on Iran, and now he is tough on Iran, while Trump is right here quoted in 1988. So, yeah, no, Nick, I'm not, my shit's consistent, right? Now, claiming people like Tucker or MTG were never MAGA. I'm not saying MTG, but Tucker, I don't think was ever MAGA. Tucker, let's see here. Tucker, this one should be very easy to debunk. Tucker, I hate Trump. I think that Tucker, there was some text. I mean, maybe I'm not going to find this one quick enough, but you know, there's the text messages that came out from, I think it was right around 2020, where Tucker Carlson says that he hated Trump, right? He says you can't wait for him. Here we go. 5 times Tucker Carlson privately reviled Trump. I hate him. I mean, yeah, look, here's the thing. Tucker Carlson has, who knows what Tucker Carlson really, what he really thinks about Trump, because his opinions change with the wind. So, yeah, I mean, MTG, I think, was just a simp that used Trump for political advantage, very similar to Candace Owens. But was she ever really MAGA? I don't know, probably, just in her own weird, selfish, narcissistic way. Good morning, LFA family. All right, what else do we got here? Let's spend a few more minutes on Nick Fuentes, and then we'll jump into a couple other stories. Here we go. here you go, guys. This is all you need to know that you shouldn't take anything that this kid says seriously. I'm voting Democrat in 2026 because white people can play both sides too. What does that even mean? White people can play both sides too. I don't understand what this means, because who is the other people he's talking about? Are black people playing both sides? Who and what is this in? This is the thing about Nick Fuentes' tweets, right? He doesn't explain in his own stupid little mind what he's referencing, right? Like the GOP broke every single promise. Epstein file cover up. Trump released the Epstein files. Regime change, war in Iran. We've already debunked that. Mass deportations. There's been over 2 million in a year. That's mass deportations. Geo must be purged and burned to the ground in 2026. Hostile takeover in 2028. Okay, if you were to hypothetically burn the GOP to the ground in 2026, the hostile takeover would be from the Democrats in 2026, and you wouldn't get power back in 2028. So that's just a silly thing to do. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna give power back to the people that rigged the elections, and make it easier for them to destroy the SAVE Act and other things. So yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. We'll totally be able to beat the Democrats after we give them power again. All right. I think we all get the point. Israel derangement syndrome turns into Trump derangement syndrome if Trump doesn't hate Israel too. Does everyone understand now? Okay. It's the same thing. Now, I want to talk about a couple other stories here. We got we got 40 minutes. We had some time. We got some time. Maybe we'll do some chats. We'll do some chats if we run out of time, because this is a 2-hour show. I was sick, and I sort of threw this together in hopes that I'd be able to cover everything. And Tim not showing up really screwed me up, because that would have been about 40 minutes that we could have had a discussion. Let me double check on Tim. Nope, still nothing. Thanks, Tim. It's really not his fault. I didn't reply to him yesterday. All right. Here's a post from Mario Knopfel. I don't even know how to say his name. Apparently, the U.S. the U.S. intelligence believes that Iran's new supreme leader is gay. The source is one of the CIA's most protected assets, the confidence high enough to brief the president. Iran has executed thousands for exactly this since 1979. The revolution didn't just eat its children, it may have crowned one. Okay. This isn't really about whether or not the supreme leader is gay. Probably is. Most of them are. And I'm not even being hyperbolic. The number 2. You know what? Let's prove this. Let's prove this real quick. Does anyone know what the number 2, like the second largest country? Here, let's just do this. Second largest country for trans surgeries. I probably spelled a whole bunch of words wrong, but they'll figure it out. Anyone want to take a guess what the second largest country for trans surgeries is? It's Iran. Yeah. Thailand is number 1. Iran, number 2. Do you know why? Does anyone want to take a guess as to why there are so many trans surgeries in Iran? Anyone? It's because they don't think it's gay to have sex with trans people. It's definitely gay to have sex with a man, but a man with fake boobies, no, that's okay. Right? So the likelihood that the supreme leader is gay is quite high. A lot of them are gay, right? And the reason why a lot of Islamists are gay is because under Islam, they view women as second class, as less than. They think men are better as an ideology, right? As part of their theology, as part of their religion, right? Women suck. They are literally just there for breeding, right? So, what would you think would happen if you had an ideology where it's like, ugh, women are gross. The only thing they're good for is just to impregnate. Be like, yeah, but men are great, right? Like, yeah, men are awesome. All right, well, I love men. Yeah, so yeah. Is he gay? Probably. The issue I have with Mario, and I've had this many times, is Mario seems to just say shit that is completely different than something he said like the day before, right? So here's this post right here. Iran has executed thousands for being gay. Here's Mario 3 days ago. Iran doesn't throw gays off of buildings, right? Mario just says things. And this is the problem with new media, right? This isn't related to the IDS thing. This is just Mario. This is Mario. This is a bunch of people. There are so many people on the internet who just say things. They don't care whether or not it's true or not. Iran doesn't throw gays off of buildings. ISIS does. No, Iran does too. I mean, in his defense, Iran usually will like hang them from a crane. But trust me, they have chucked 1 or 2 gays off of a building before. I guarantee it. Hi, everyone. Is this Misfit Patriots' first day? No, I've been here for a few weeks. Carol in the chat. I just am covering for Sean today. I actually do the show right before his, so you should start an hour earlier and catch it. Yeah. So I just wanted to show this, highlight this issue we're seeing online with quote new media, right? New media is garbage. All right, you know what? Now that we this is a good segue, right? Sean here, who is I'm covering for today, is currently covering Dan Bongino's show, and here's a clip from him yesterday, which actually does tie into the theme of the day here. Let's check him out.
But I'm just asking questions. How does obsessing over Israel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, how does that make you America first? It doesn't sound like you're America first to me. It sounds like you're America second. You're Israel last, fine, whatever. But the very first thing you do is obsess over this country all day long. Let's say in an alternate universe somewhere, Bibi Netanyahu, the whole nation of Israel, was like, all right, you know what? All those people online are right. We shouldn't exist. Let's just, let's leave. You guys would have nothing to do. It's the first thing you talk about. How come I never, ever see any of these people who obsess over a foreign nation? How come I don't see them talking about passing the SAVE Act? The Save America Act, I'm sorry. The president gets very mad if you call it the SAVE Act. We're gonna do something. If you don't call it the Save America Act, we're gonna treat you like the Ayatollah. And now there's more than one Ayatollah, and we keep bombing them. It's called whack-a-mullah. We're whacking them. They pop up out of the hole, we whack them. You know, he was called the Supreme Leader. Khomeini. I call him Khomeiniac. He was called the Supreme Leader. I call him the Supreme Loser because he died like a dog. Remember that press conference? He died like a dog. We took him out. No goats were harmed in the production of this operation. But you look at how come we don't hear anybody talking about these folks that are obsessed over a foreign country? None of them talk about the SAVE Act, the Save America Act. None of them. Doesn't matter. Why? Because Israel's not involved.
There it is. All right. IDS is the new TDS. So, fun fact. So yesterday, if you caught my show yesterday, which was before Sean's, I was really sick. I still am a little, but I was like, I'm going to take a sleeping pill. I'm going to knock as soon as the show's over. I took my whole concoction of vitamins, which we went over yesterday, and they worked. I feel a lot better today, but I was passed out probably by 11, right? Like I think and what I did was I put on the Bongino show that Sean was covering, laid on the couch, wrapped myself up in a blanket. I'm just on the couch, and I like turned so I was facing away from the TV. So Sean was essentially like lullabying me to sleep. Right, and I woke up, and if you just play Rumble, for some reason it'll just keep going. It'll repeat and repeat, go back and forth. So I went to sleep probably around 11, and then I woke up. I think it was like around 3 p.m. and Sean was still talking, and I was like, how long is this show, dude? Like, no. But what it did was it started the episode over again. And so, yeah, yesterday was crazy because I don't know. I think I caught that whole show subliminally, like it just in my dreams. But yeah, so Sean did a great job on Bongino. But it's so funny that they pulled that clip because we're covering this today, right? Where it's like the obsession over Israel is becoming such a problem. And another, this kind of related story here, Megyn Kelly, right? I used to be a fan of Candace Owens. I used to be a fan of Tucker Carlson. I used to be a fan of Megyn Kelly, right? And the reason why I'm not a fan of any of them anymore is they have caught this Israel derangement syndrome mind virus. It really is. It's just like the woke mind virus, right? It's like, it really is something that just takes over. Now, there are a lot of people that say that it's like, oh, they're being paid to do this. And that's probably partially true. But Megyn Kelly is like really, she's flipped very quickly, right? And I don't think that it's 100% because she's being paid to do it. I think that she capitalizes off of trends. I think that if you pay attention to Megyn Kelly, she capitalizes off of trends. Real quick, I want to go and find this one's just a quick throwaway. Let's cover this real quick. There was this, again, Israel derangement syndrome. There was this story going around that Netanyahu was dead because there was a video that everyone thought was AI, right? Where he had 5 fingers and a thumb. It was like he had 6 fingers, like the 6-fingered man. Like, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. I don't know if you guys can count, but on the screen here, this is the video that everyone said was AI, right? Count. Go ahead. It's 1. All right, there's a pinky. There's a ring finger. There's a middle finger. There's an index finger. And there's a thumb. That is 4 fingers and a thumb. And people still were like, whoa, no way. No way, dude. This is clearly AI. He has 4 fingers and a thumb. What? What? I mean, sure, his hand does look a little weird because it's the position of it, like perspective. But here's if you are watching, here is my hand, right? If there are 4 fingers and a thumb, what is going on? Israel derangement syndrome is the new Trump derangement syndrome. All right, but anyway, let's find this clip because I'm sure Megyn Kelly, Bongino. Levin. Let's see if this does it. Because Megyn Kelly there's this clip of Megyn Kelly. Here we go.
No, Levin's another one. Like if Mark Levin, the godfather of the movie, he asks you to come on, you just do it. Like out of respect. You don't say, Mark, hold on, I got a pizza down. You just do it.
No.
You show
Wait
up
for it.
and you shut
I
up.
have no relationship
your
with
show
him, Dan.
too. I just couldn't earlier. That was the only reason.
I
It's
have this like
contractual.
crush from afar on Mark Levin. I've always loved
He's the
him.
best.
I agree with Sean that he's the great one. I listen to everything he says. I read his books, but like he only really likes the true believers, and I've always been just more of a journalist who's like, let me hear both sides. Let me whatever. So I don't think I'm his number 1 favorite, but I secretly from afar am like a Mark Levin stalker.
Okay. So Megyn Kelly, big fan of Mark Levin, but apparently because she's been, dipping her toe in the Israel derangement syndrome pool, and now I think that she's fully immersed herself in it. Mark Levin's been calling her out, right? So Megyn Kelly's response to Mark Levin was to say that he has a micro penis. No, I'm not joking. Let's check out this New York Post article, and then we'll go and find that. Trump defends Mark Levin after pundits' wild podcast feud with rival Megyn Kelly. President Trump threw his support behind Mark Levin amid radio host's bitter back-and-forth feud with podcaster Megyn Kelly. Trump praised Levin as a truly great American patriot who was somewhat under siege by other people with far less intellect, capability, and love for the country. Levin is far smarter than those who criticize him. Above all, great men of great wisdom. Levin and Kelly traded personal attacks online over the weekend, which is a broader ongoing rift among conservative podcasters such as Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, etc. Let's see here. I don't know why that's there. Those that will speak ill of Mark will fall quickly by the wayside. They are not MAGA. I am, and MAGA includes not allowing Iran, a sick, demented, and violent terrorist regime, to have a nuclear weapon. So essentially, Trump is coming out, and we talked about this yesterday. Okay, like we talked about the problem with J.D. Vance not coming out and unequivocally stating his positions, and what he thinks of Tucker Carlson's positions, right? And Tucker Carlson for having the positions, right? It's a mistake in politics to try to, defend the indefensible through non-defense, if that makes sense, right? Like if JD Vance comes out and goes like, no, these are great conversations that need to be had. No, they're not. No, Tucker Carlson talking about how the Jews killed Jesus because they were sitting in a room eating hummus at Charlie Kirk's memorial. Not a good conversation to have. And you should come out and say that was stupid. Oh, well, I'm friends with Tucker, but what he said was garbage. It's that simple, right? And what's happening with Trump is he's showing J.D. Vance and others how you're supposed to do it, right? If you have two people that you are associated with and they're having a feud, right? And you vehemently disagree with one of them. Take notes, Michael Knowles, right? You come out and say that because you're making your position very clear. Okay. And we're going to get to Bongino with Michael Knowles, right? Because Bongino just basically called out Michael Knowles too. But I don't know why this is so hard. Why is it so hard for people to do that, right? But yeah, here's Megyn Kelly. Micro penis Mark Levin show is such a small man that he had to go and beg the president for a pat on the head. What? In the middle of a war. To make himself feel better. I don't think anybody tells Trump what to tweet. I don't think that Mark Levin was like, Trump, can you tweet for me? I think Trump was probably like, yeah. But Trump basically came out and was like, hey, if you two are fighting, Megyn, sorry, you're wrong. He's my boy. I agree with him. You're an idiot. Didn't even mention her by name, by the way. But Megyn Kelly went out and connected the dots. Let's see here. It's really not that hard, guys. No, what am I doing here? Bongino. I want to see if we can find this reply from Bongino to Michael Knowles. Here we go. So here's Tyler Bower. Right. While podcasters argue on X over generally predisposed animosity towards one another, our team is registering voters and chasing ballots to protect the nation's largest utility company in a swing state. Losing it would be dramatically harder to win the presidency again. Tyler Bower's got the right idea here. I love Tyler Bower, and it's he's right that this is what we should be focusing on. Michael Knowles, however, comes out and says this is the way. And Dan Bongino comes in And you might think that this is like unrelated. He's like, unrelated. But no, here's what Dan Bongino's saying. I'll continue to defend Erica Kirk against the evil, and so will others. I will also encourage everyone, as I've done for over a decade, to go out and vote and grab 10 people to go vote with them. What Dan Bongino is saying, even though you didn't bring up Erica Kirk, I am. Because everyone knows that this coward, Michael Knowles, will not call out Candace Owens for attacking Erica Kirk. And you need to start throwing that in his freaking comment section and being like, bro, this whole freaking, I'm not going to chime in on it, that's an answer. Not answering is an answer. So Trump is showing people what to do when you're in this situation. Because it doesn't matter like how much clout somebody has, right? It doesn't matter. In the end, it really is going to be about what people think of you. And here's what I think of you, Michael. I used to be a huge fan. I think you're a slimy coward now, right? You are just if you think that you can say, I disagree with what Candace says, but I'm never going to call out my friends. Hold on. Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. It's like I'm sorry, dude. This is getting ridiculous. It's this type of just spineless behavior, which is why we're losing. Because people like Candace, they're ruling with an iron fist. They don't have people calling them out. I know you're like really tiny, but you have a very large platform. You should use it. So it's so stupid, man. But yeah, anyway, we covered everything that we were going to get to. So what I'd like to do is take some questions. Let's go run through the main little, X feed here, because we had a guest that we were planning to bring on. And it's, like I said, it's really not Tim's fault, but, there was supposed to be about 40 minutes of interview today that we are not able to do. So we got about 15 minutes left in the show. So I just saw a question in the chat that I'm not going to read. So yeah, shoot some questions in the chat and we'll see if we can answer them for you. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be running through the main feed here on X, and we'll see if we can find any stories that we want to cover. All right, let's see. We got Will Chamberlain, and this is my algorithm, guys. So sorry, but this is what's going to pop up. Okay. After much reflection, who is this? Joe Kent. After much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position as director of National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Good. Get him off. Get him off. If you are working as the director of the National Counterterrorism Center and you don't think Iran posed a threat to our nation, thank you very much for resigning. You did not deserve, you should not have been there. Absolutely no way you should have been in that position. In fact, I think that it says something that you even were in that position in the first place. It has been an honor serving under POTUS and DNI Gabbard. I'm assuming she's the one that hired you. And leading the professionals at NCTC. May God bless America. Okay, let's see what this guy said. Joseph Kent. After much reflection, I've decided, I cannot go. Okay, so I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, and 2024, which you enacted in your first term until June of 2025. You understood this is, we've already covered this. Trump has been saying this since the 80s. He said it in 2016. I'm gonna bomb the hell out of them. He's said this over and over and over again. It's not his fault you weren't paying attention. It's not Trump's fault you didn't know his policy. You changed, Trump. I didn't change. This is Trump. I didn't change. You can go back and see all of everything. You can see everything that I've said. I didn't change at all. Jeez. Good. Get the hell out. You should not be in that position if you do not consider Iran as a threat to the United States of America. They've killed thousands of us. I disagree with this strategy from Gerald Morgan. I disagree with this strategy. At this moment, this is not the forever war some claim it to be. It could become that, but it isn't right now. Very, very true. If everything you say about this conflict is true, wouldn't it be better to stay and guide strategy as much as you can? There may be a time to resign, but now is not that time. Bad call. No, good call. No, Gerald, I disagree with you. Good call, because if he thinks Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, he should not have been there. Who is it? Somebody talking smack? Somebody talking smack in here? I got Sandy. Sandy's like, hold on. Who you see here is who he is in real life. Oh, okay. No. Nobody's talking smack. Nobody's talking smack. Yes, Sean says it all the time. If you meet me in real life, this is who I am. But yeah, no. Bye, Joe. Bye. Nobody should be in a position in this country in a counterterrorism role at any form if they do not view Iran as a threat. They were enriching uranium to like 60%. You know when everybody says like, no, they said that they've been saying it's been 2 weeks from a nuclear weapon for years, because they were. By the sheer numbers of the percentage of enriched uranium, they have been 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon for years. They chant death to America, and they were 2 weeks away from a weapon. Huh? What the shit? How do you people not see that as a threat? They literally burn the American flag in their little government building that is now rubble, thankfully. And they're 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon, and they're vastly ramping up their military ballistic program, their ballistic missile program. They're funding Hezbollah, which has a training facility in Venezuela that was like 2 hours away from Miami. They have funded the terror proxies around the world for the past 47 years, but no threat to America. Why do people think that we have to wait for another 9/11 in order for that to be a threat? Jeez, people. No threat. Oh, you know, my next door neighbor's a rapist, right? No, my next door neighbor is a convicted child rapist, and I have a 14-year-old daughter. No threat, though, because he hasn't raped her yet. There's no threat, no immediate or imminent threat, because I have no evidence that he wants to rape my daughter. No threat. That's the stupid sounding mentality that you people have. They're a threat because they are what they are. And they have the ability, like, dude, literally, you know, I'm not going to do the naughty button. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm not going to go on a swearing tirade. I'm too tired. Jeez, the amount of people that do not see the actual threat. It's very scary. It's scary because I believe these people. I believe them. I believe that they don't see this as a threat. And what I call that is September 10th mentality, right? On September 10th, nobody viewed Islam as a threat to America. It wasn't until September 11th that we realized it was, and it wasn't until September 12th until we decided to do something about it. Now, the way we responded was not right. Bush, handled it improperly because he did it as a reaction and an overreaction. What Trump is doing is he's trying to prevent through targeted action. He's trying to just stop it before it happens, not fumble it after it happens. Get back to a September 12th mentality with the right person behind the wheel, and we don't have a September 11th. This is not hard to figure out, guys. Yes, Islam has been a threat for thousands of years in the chat. Correct. Correct. Now, I asked if we had any questions in the chat. I don't see any, but, throw $1 in there if you want it highlighted. And I'll see it, but I don't see any real questions. Yeah. Yeah, I'm scrolling. I don't see any questions, but I'll just keep going. Joe Kent is a crazed egomaniac who was often at the center of national security leaks while rarely never producing any actual work. He spent all of his time working to subvert the chain of command and undermine the president of the United States. This isn't some principled resignation. He just wanted to make a splash before getting canned. What a loser. Former deputy White House chief of staff and cabinet secretary. Okay. You get a follow. So it's possible that, it's possible that's true. It's possible Joe Kent was about to get fired and just went and resigned in some virtue signaling letter that he posted online. Socials, Misfit Patriot. Yeah, if you guys want to go to my social media, let's see here. You guys can go to, well, it's right at the bottom of the screen here, beacons.ai/the Misfit Patriot. That'll take you here. You buy me a coffee. Here's TMP on LFA TV. That'll be the link for this stream, the all-day stream, rumble.com/LFA. We have these guys right here, the Heartbeat brand. My other Rumble channel that I only use with Sean on Wednesday nights for the weekly breakdown now, because now we're here. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, which I barely use, Facebook, all of it's here. So head on over. Head on over there if you guys want to follow me. And yes, my name is Zach, not Misfit. Zach Bonfilio. It's just easier to say the Misfit Patriot because everybody calls me Misfit. Anyway, back to it. We're just killing time because we had a guest and the guest did not guest. The guest did not guest. Where is Sean? Sean is covering the Dan Bongino show today, and he is crushing it. He'll be back tomorrow, though. You guys only have to see me on this hour for one day. But yeah, he's crushing it over there. Let's go and see something real quick. We got 5 minutes. Let's go see something real quick. All right, where is it? Let's go. Let's go rumble.com/Bongino. What, Bongino? Let's see what Sean's wearing.
The function.
Oh, okay. I saw the hat earlier. He took off the hat. He took off the hat. Let's go. What is it? An hour back. There it is. There's Sean with the green hat. Bring your green hat. He's got 45,000 live viewers right now. So this is Sean right now on the Bongino show. He'll be back tomorrow. There he is. He's swapping out the hat. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to catch my show, it's the hour before this show, Ungoverned, and it's the daily breakdown. We cover the news, we break it down, we literally go and we type in the word news, we cover whatever stories pop up, and then we also have a little theme of the day. Today is TDS Tuesday. We were supposed to have Tim Hale on, but for some reason, it's my fault. But, you know, I didn't reply to him, so he's not here. We'll try to bring him on a different day. But today's theme was IDS is the new TDS, and we were talking about Israel derangement syndrome. So, but for the ungoverned audience, we will have Sean back tomorrow. There's a lot of changes over at LFA, and I understand. I hope you guys can like and share and really help us out here. But okay, so we got 2K live viewers. Okay, so when I jumped on, I assumed that there would probably be a little shakeup because if you guys are used to watching Jeremy in this hour, you're going to want to see Jeremy, not Misfit. Okay, how do you feel? Oh, I gotta chat. We have a dollar question. I'll get to that in 1 second, but I do want to say thank you because I think that for the most part, a lot of Jeremy's audience has stuck around and watched my show, and I appreciate that. And I think that people will get used to the new lineup, and we'll be building the Misfit Patriot Daily Breakdown audience. Sean is a great follow up for this show, and Jeremy's great too. So just some patience with the new growing pains, and make sure you like, share, and I hope you guys like the new lineup. But anyway, I asked everyone if they wanted a question. How do you feel about mullahs going to Canada? Sherry 2032 in the chat. Mullahs going to Canada. I don't know what that means exactly. Let's see here. See if we can. We got 2 minutes left. See if we can get this question. Mullah, Canada. Is that a story? Just days after an IRGC mullah was seen. Oh, I did hear about this. Okay. Just days after IRGC mullah was seen being given asylum in Toronto, Canada, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announces Canada will not assist the United States in any of its operations against Iran. Here's what I think of that. I think that the United States should cut off Canada. I think that we are done with I think we should be done with Canada, right? Their entire economy is propped up by us. I think that we should just say, screw you, we're done. Right? No more. Okay. You guys want to become UK? Become the UK. We're not going to be a part of it. All right. Let them fail. Let China come in and prop up their economy. I don't care. I think that we need to break up with Canada, especially over this. So if that's and if that hurts us, if we don't have maple syrup anymore, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I think that's the right move. I think we break up with Canada completely. Clean split. All right, boys and girls. Looks like we are coming up on the final minute of the 2-hour show. Appreciate everyone. Thank you for joining. Why is somebody calling me right now? You son of a bitch. Thank you for joining. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And Sean will be back here tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, and we will see you then. I think Jeremy, somebody is coming up live from America. I don't know who to introduce right now because I'm usually introducing Sean, but it's me instead. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Daily Breakdown, and Sean will be here for Ungoverned. Peace.
A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not.
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
we are the only society on Earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, which